Season 2.5 is well underway, and it's very clear that there's a completely new meta emerging. The dive meta of Season 2, otherwise known as the run forward and dive on the healer meta, has mostly disappeared. This is due to the nerfs on numerous dive characters. Spider-Man lost his symbiotic team-up, which drastically reduced his effectiveness on the battlefield. Iron Fist also received pretty big nerfs, and both of these characters were pretty effective at pressurizing flying characters, meaning that flying characters are in a good spot in Season 2.5. Especially Storm and Iron Man. Hela and Punisher are also incredibly strong, but they take a little bit more skill to play, meaning that flying meta will very much be a thing for lower elo matches, whereas you might get sniped out of the air more frequently in higher elo matches. Overall, there are lots of characters being played that pump out crazy damage, so your main thought process this season is to make sure you're picking a strategist that is providing enough healing to your team. Ultron was recently introduced to Rivals, and he's definitely had an impactful effect on the meta. He's brought triple strategist compositions back to popularity, so let's go over why this is. Ultron is an offensive healer. He has strong damage potential, and his ultimate provides an amazing chance to pick up some kills. He doesn't have the healing output to be considered a main healer, along with the fact his ultimate doesn't have as much defensive value as the other main healers. It lasts for a shorter amount of time, it has a smaller area of effect, and he can easily be killed in it since it has a very low amount of self-healing. So if your team want to run Ultron, this will usually be alongside two other healers, especially if you're running two tanks. However, you can get away with running Ultron and one main healer if you only have one tank. But it's important to remember Ultron usually can't heal enough to keep up two tanks with only two healers. So let's go over a quick tier list. In my S tier we have Luna Snow in first place, then Loki, and then Invisible Woman. For our A tier, Rocket is the strongest, followed by Cloak and Dagger, then Ultron, and finally Jeff the Land Shark. And in the B tier, we have Adam Warlock and Mantis. Let's go through why. Starting at the top, we have Luna Snow. Dive characters are not as strong as last season. Nerfs were given to Captain America, Iron Fist, Spider-Man, and Psylocke, which allows strategists with less defensive capabilities to thrive a little bit more. Luna is definitely one that struggled the most with survivability last season if she didn't have her Iron Fist team up. Luna now deals 66 damage and heals allies for 66 health with her primary fire instead of 60, and her ultimate energy cost has increased from 4,500 to 5,000. While this ultimate cost may seem very high, the additional healing and damage that Luna is pumping out with her primary fire means that she can charge her ult faster, so you really can't feel the energy cost nerf if you're playing well. My one piece of advice for picking Luna is to be mindful that you won't be charging your ultimate very fast if you're not running two tanks, or at least a solo tank with a bigger HP bar to charge your ultimate, such as Groot or Venom. But even with one tank, she's still a great pick since she now two-shots enemies with 2 headshots. And don't forget her freeze, which she now gets 50 bonus health on freezing a target, which is a decent buff to her survivability. And finally, she now has a team up with Hawkeye, which is very strong. If you've played any Marvel Rivals this season already, then you'll know Hawkeye is pretty much a permaban, and his icy arrow is the explanation. This is definitely a better team up for Luna than the one she had with Jeff. It has a lot more game impact. The Icy Arrow stun is very easy to pick up kills with. One negative thing to consider about Luna this season is that she won't be getting her Iron Fist team up as often, since he isn't as strong and won't be locked in as frequently. Overall, Luna is a must pick because her ultimate is the strongest strategist by far. She has less threats in Season 2.5 and her base kit is even stronger. Next up we have Loki. Loki will probably always be S tier for one simple factor. He charges his healing ultimate very quickly, so he can grab a Luna Snow ultimate a lot faster than she can charge it herself. His immunity lamps are always handy for surviving flank characters and dive team comps. Hela is very strong this meta, making the Asgardian revive team up just a little bit better. Loki is also a great pick for solo queue this season. He can do a substantial amount of damage with his clones up, meaning he can easily pick up a kill. One weakness to be aware of for Loki is that he's not very effective when trying to heal flying allies who are very strong and popular this patch. Loki's probably not as useful as last season as there aren't as many dive characters being played, so he can't get as much value from his immunity lamps, but it's still a very strong ability. So he might not be able to get as much value from his immunity lamps, but it's still a very strong ability. Invisible Woman. She is a force to be reckoned with as always, similar to Loki. Going into Season 2.5, her Fantastic Four team-up ability has been increased by 5 seconds, which gives her allies a little bit less survivability. However, that's not a huge nerf. The worst change for Invisible Woman this patch is how bad the Thing is. He fares well against dive characters which aren't being played as much. He has a very short attack range, so he can't reach flying characters such as Storm and Iron Man, who are extremely popular right now, meaning that he's one of the worst tank picks. But she herself is in just about the same spot as she was last patch. Great survivability and self-peel in the hands of a good player, with a pretty crazy healing output and a fast charging ultimate. She also counters a lot of ultimates easily by pushing them away, such as Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch. For these reasons, she'll probably always be S tier. She's also not the worst character to pocket a flying teammate, as you can keep spamming your shield on them, which definitely gives them a lot of protection. Moving on to the A tier, first we have Rocket Raccoon. His main change going into Season 2.5 is with his team-ups. Rocket lost his infinite ammo team-up with Punisher and instead has a team-up with Penny Parker that provides her with 2 nests and a mine effect around his own revive beacon. Even though this makes Penny a much better character, it's not nearly as effective as how quickly Punisher could melt enemies with his insane DPS. Penny is a very situational character, so she's great on some game modes, on some maps, and against certain team comps, unlike Punisher team-up which excels more frequently. Punisher is a great character this patch regardless though. Rocket also got a small nerf on his direct healing amount, which was reduced by 5. This may seem small, but over time it stacks up a little bit. Overall, Rocket is still a staple pick, but he's just not as seemingly overpowered compared to when he was first reworked. Most players know to break his ultimate quickly. He does have great survivability and his revive beacon is very handy, but it's not as important to lock in since dive team comps aren't being played as much. Next in line is Cloak and Dagger. As I've stated numerous times on my channel, C&D are a very strong character. They have a high healing output and the option to deal decent damage. C&D also have pretty high survivability with their self-healing and a fast charging ultimate that can push objectives and pick up kills. C&D fares particularly well when flying characters are strong since they have the most reliable way of healing them. The auto-aim effect on her daggers means you don't have to waste as much time adjusting your aim to the sky and potentially missing your shots and losing out on healing. This is often overlooked by strategist players. If your team is running Iron Man Storm for example, Cloak and Dagger is a perfect pick. As long as you get experience with their cooldowns and dodging Magneto ultimates, you're good to go. I'll leave a link to my Cloak and Dagger video below with some tips to help you do this. Overall, C&D is a great and reliable pick as long as you make sure you're playing proactively and ignoring your teammates if they flame you for picking them. In my experience, they do have a slightly lower healing output than the other main healers, but you can make up for this by being an amazing player. Next we have Ultron. Now there's been a lot of talk about whether Ultron is good or bad, but personally I think he's in a pretty strong spot. He is the main character that enables the flying meta, which is very popular right now. His heals are a very easy way to pocket flying characters who usually struggle to get healing in the sky sometimes. Ultron has a good damage output and allows you to have so much more impact in your games as a strategist since you can pick up some kills with this ultimate pretty easily. His team up with Iron Man is also pretty strong. It excels when you use it to heal an ally who is lined up with an enemy so you can damage them too. I don't think he needs any changes currently, and it will be interesting to see how he fares in the long run. You might see him being banned a lot in your games right now, but this isn't because he's overpowered. It's more so the characters he enables which are very strong right now, like Storm and Iron Man. Also, players are banning him to stop other players on their team from first timing it in their games and making them lose. So you'll probably see his ban rate decrease over time. As long as you have good aim and a desire to spam your ultimate, Ultron is a great choice for you. Also in the A tier for this patch is Jeff. While lots of players express their dislike for his new changes, healer Jeff is pretty strong now, and he's a lot more reliable than flank DPS Jeff where players could easily throw your games. The most important thing to know about Jeff this season is JeffNado. His team up with Storm is incredibly strong. You definitely want to make sure you're locking in Jeff whenever Storm gets through the banning phase. This team up wreaks havoc and easily kills through healer ultimates. The only choice the enemy has is to split up. Jeff has a pretty strong healing output and I see him being used as a main healer in a lot of my games. He also has a new team up with Venom which allows him to pump out additional heals. If you're locking in Jeff, make sure you're aware of all of his new changes and don't try to play him as the same flank DPS pick. You'll find he's a lot less effective at that now. Overall, Jeff seems to be a great pick this season regardless of JeffNado. He isn't a troll pick anymore. And lastly, we have Adam and Mantis. I've spoke about these guys quite a lot on my channel and the same thing still applies in Season 2.5. They have a very high skill ceiling. You have to have incredibly accurate aim with them to get anywhere near as much value as locking in another strategist. Playing an off healer usually means you're condemning your team to a triple support comp because Adam and Mantis provide little healing, which doesn't always work. Your team usually has a lot less kill potential because of the 3 supports, so you really have to make sure you're hitting your shots. In this season, dive is a lot less effective, which is where Adam and Mantis excel the most, so you'll be finding a lot less need to lock them in now, especially when other strategists are a lot easier to deal damage with. With the addition of Ultron, Adam and Mantis are struggling to find a spot in the meta from my experience. Ultron deals good damage and a lot more easily, along with an ultimate that picks up kills and also consistently gets higher healing than Adam and Mantis. If you have 2 healers and you need a little bit more healing, Ultron is just the easiest pick for that. So in summary, they've been pushed out as the go-to offensive healer pick. I also advise not locking them in unless you're super experienced with them. In conclusion, for my Season 2.5 meta-analysis, play Luna. Ultron and Jeff aren't troll picks, they're pretty decent now, but make sure you understand their kits first before first timing them in ranks. And be mindful that there are lots of flying characters being played, so make sure you're confident throwing your heals up in the air. Or just pick Cloak and Dagger for easy mode. Thank you so much for watching this video, make sure you subscribe for more videos just like this one. I'm also proud to announce that I am now a Corsair ambassador. You can use code CHIC at checkout to get yourself 10% off some of the best gaming peripherals on the market. Make sure you use my link in the description. I also stream on Twitch regularly if you want to come watch me lose games in real time. I'll see you guys soon.